The unfair burden of childhood, reclaiming your power and your ultimate freedom. Childhood is often idealized as a time of innocence, of wonder, and of carefree exploration. Yet for many, this period is overshadowed by a weighty burden of responsibility thrust upon them at an early age, when the natural joys of youth are replaced with adult like duties and expectations. A child is robbed of the very essence of what it means to be young. This premature assumption of responsibility forces them into roles they never sought, roles of protector, provider, and even emotional caretaker. Without understanding or consent, they become the backbone of those around them. They become the silent savior. They become an unacknowledged messiah. So let's talk about the unwilling savior. From an early age, some children are expected to carry on the emotional and sometimes physical burdens of their family members. This responsibility is rarely explicitly assigned, but it is rather an unspoken expectation, often developed in dysfunctional households where parents, siblings, or even extended family members rely on them for stability. These children are expected to mature faster than their peers, to sacrifice their needs, and to hold things together while others fall apart. They are the shield protecting others from life's difficulties, the sword defending against familial chaos, and the servant attending to the emotional needs of those who should be guiding and protecting them instead. The weight of these expectations is immense. Such children often grow up feeling as though they must be the problem solvers. They must be the caretakers. They must be the ones who keep the family functioning. This overwhelming sense of duty pushes them into an adulthood often far, far too soon, stripping them of the right to explore their own identity, their own desires, and their own dreams. They become the unacknowledged leaders of their households, navigating responsibilities that should never have been theirs to bear to begin with. Let's talk about the emotional punching bag. Being placed in such a role often means that these individuals become the emotional punching bag for others. Those who are insecure, those who are wounded, those who are struggling frequently direct their frustrations and their emotional pain and burdens onto the child who has been conditioned to listen, absorb, and obey. Rather than being nurtured and protected, they endure the blame, they endure the manipulation, and they endure the projection of unhealed traumas. They're expected to tolerate emotional outbursts, provide comfort without question, and remain an unwavering source of support without so much as a thanks or even acknowledgement. Not that it would help, because they're not even supposed to be in this role to begin with. They become the emotional caretaker of adults, equipped to handle the complex burdens of others' unresolved traumas. They're expected to hold their own ground. They're expected to absorb the pain, have the right wisdom, and never falter. This creates a precedent in which they feel guilty for asserting boundaries or prioritizing their own well-being. They internalize the belief that their own worth is directly tied to their ability to serve and please others, so they lower those boundaries and continue to allow people to pile onto them. This becomes the messianic complex, one of expectation. Over time, this forced role of savior morphs into a deeply ingrained identity. The individual begins to see themselves as the grand eternal fixer, the one who must always hold everything together. This can lead to a messiah complex where they feel an overwhelming sense of duty and obligation to save those around them, even at the expense of their own life. They believe they must sacrifice their own needs and desires for the greater good, constantly placing others before themselves, constantly giving adoration, praise, love, and comfort to those while they themselves cannot heal and cannot be allowed to understand their own issues. They feel guilty for even considering self-care. This invites others to become entitled. People who recognize their selflessness and exploit it for their own gain as they pile problem upon problem upon these people. These people expect constant attention, emotional labor, and sacrifice without so much as a thanks or even an ounce of reciprocation. This is when it's time for you to break free of the chains of servitude. It's important to recognize that this dynamic is not fair, it is not sustainable, and no child should be burdened with the weights of others' emotions, expectations, or responsibilities. No one should be expected to serve as a perpetual caretaker, shielding others from consequences while neglecting their own well-being. Perhaps in this respect, hurt people hurt people. The first step towards healing is acknowledging the injustice of the situation. It is vital to understand that these burdens were never yours to carry on in the first place. The responsibility for others' emotional well-being does not rest on your shoulders. Yes, it could be acting out. Yes, it could be a cycle that repeats itself. But it's time to let go of the need to fix it. It's time to let go of the need to save it. And it's time to let go of the need to serve it. You do not have to be an emotional punching bag. You do not have to be the shield. You do not have to be the sword. You do not have to be the servant. You do not have to carry the expectations placed upon you by those who are unwilling or unable to fulfill their own responsibilities. This is where you reclaim your power. This is where you take back your freedom. Reclaiming your power begins with setting the firm boundaries. You must learn to say no without guilt. You must learn to prioritize your own needs without fear of disappointing others. Those who truly care about you will respect your autonomy and recognize your right to live freely without being weighed down by undue expectations. They will tend to your needs. They will look out for your interests. Those are the people you need in your life, even if it seems that you are attracted to people who don't. You do not need to be trapped in servitude. You were not born to be a caregiver to the world. You were not meant to exist solely for the benefit of others. Your purpose is not to endure endless suffering to keep others happy, comfortable, or secure. It is time to shatter these misconceptions about you and embrace a new truth that you're worthy of joy, you're worthy of freedom, you're worthy of self-expression. The person they looked for is dead and is never coming back. You seek out opportunities with new uplifting relationships, and that's essential. You concern yourselves with those who respect you, who respect your boundaries, who uplift your spirit and encourage your personal growth. Friendships and connections should be reciprocal, not one-sided. You deserve to be loved for who you are. You deserve to be treated for a loving being who deserves all the warmth and care in the world. You do not need to constantly do it for others who do not appreciate you. Cast your burdens onto God as well. For those who seek spiritual guidance, God can take it. God is an unlimited reservoir of that which we rely on because God is eternal, God is infinite, God is the divine. You are not alone in your struggles. You are not meant to carry everything by yourself. By surrendering these weights to the Most High God, you open yourself to healing, peace, and divine direction. And God is there for you, and God will give you guidance, and God will give you unconditional love. God does not call us to be perpetual martyrs for the ungrateful. God calls us to love ourselves as we love others. That means respecting our own well-being, valuing our own time, and recognizing that we are not meant to live in servitude to those who refuse to heal themselves. No, it is not enough that people look to you to be some sort of savior. No, you must live a life of abundance. You are not meant to live in lack. You are not meant to live in suffering. You do not have to give endless sacrifice. You can live abundantly. You can live richly. You deserve happiness. You deserve peace. You deserve fulfillment. You deserve to embrace new opportunities, form new meaningful connections, leave behind the old trash, and nourish yourself with beautiful things that do not drain you. The world is full of possibilities waiting to be explored. The limitations placed upon you by your past do not define your future. You break free from the chains of obligation, you reclaim your power, and you step into a life of freedom, of love, and abundance. The old you is dead, and it's never coming back. You are not here to be used. You are not here to be drained. You are not here to be shackled by the needs of others. You are here to live. You are here to thrive, and you are here to embrace the fullness of life. Love yourself. Respect yourself. Choose yourself. The time for servitude has ended. The time for freedom has begun. Live, heal, love, and, most of all, reclaim your power. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you're new here, this is a safe space. If you're returning, I love and appreciate you so much, and I'm glad that you're back. In the name of the Most High God, I wish you health, wealth, prosperity, and abundance. Blessings and protection. Signing off. Take care. Have a great day.